we got to talk a little bit about this is an awful story. I encourage you guys. The AJC broke it, and now CBS Sports has a story on it too. Georgia defensive lineman Jamal Jarrett faced sexual assault underage drinking allegations as a recruit per report. And according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Jarrett is part of a larger look into the program's handling of sexual violence violations, where there seems to be a rally around players that get these violations with Georgia. Another case that was cited was former Georgia linebacker Adam Anderson. On November 10th, 2021, Anderson turned himself into police and was charged with felony rape during his bond hearing. 8 players from Georgia's football team, including Jalen Carter, James Cook, Quay Walker, who Tennessee targeted heavily during the Jeremy Pruitt years, advocated for his release and testified in favor of his character. 11 players during Kirby Smart's tenure have remained on the team despite women reporting violent encounters to the police, the university, or both, according to the report. Real quick, dozens of players, according to the Journal, or to the AJC, have engaged in activities like excessive speed, straight racing, and driving under the influence. We've talked about those, but this is a different story. Jaru, this is really, really a bad look. Now, me being in the weeds of a lot of Tennessee cases, the A.J. Johnson case, the Jalen McCullough case, I know context happens even if there's multiple allegations against multiple different people. And so we have to be fair here. But if Georgia is just reflexively rallying to the support of players who are charged without evidence or facts, that's a big problem.
This line made it even worse for me. It was like, because you talked about Adam Anderson and the players went to talk about his character at the trial. Anderson's attorney, told the judge that he made a promise to Kirby Smart that the players advocating for Anderson would be released early to return to football activities. So that basically implicates Kirby Smart in like helping these players get off scot-free from trial or anything like that. And then the next line says the athletic department denied that Smart was involved in sending players to Anderson's hearing, according to the AJC's report. So at least Anderson was suspended indefinitely and did not play after he was charged. But still, you see Kirby Smart apparently talking to the attorney and asking if the players can return to football activities. Like, I feel like in that situation, football should be the last thing anybody's worried about.
Right, exactly. The way to handle this is, again, Jaru and I are both on the same side here. I'm pretty sure we're not one that says lock somebody up, throw away the key because they're charged with anything. That's not how you do this. They have a process, and there's an appropriate way to handle it. The not appropriate way to handle it is to reflexively and immediately send people to go work with the legal team and law enforcement and send your players to go defend somebody who's charged for something. That's not the way to handle this. That is as close to tampering as it can get, honestly, in a case. And with Kirby Smart, given how gung-ho, lackadaisical he's been with so many other players getting in trouble with his program. I mean, just things like, the Georgia recruit that did the Asian slur during the NFL draft. I haven't seen a punishment for him. Have you? I mean, and that's one of those where I don't think he should be punished for life or suspended for a season, but you could suspend him for a game just to say, hey, you can't do that. You can't throw slurs against communities when you're on this football team. Nothing. And this is a really, really, really big deal. And again, Georgia signed Jamal Jarrett, who was a member of the 2023 class. He broke curfew, drank alcohol with teammates at an Athens bar, and was taken, okay, fine, that's not a big deal to not sign somebody, but then was taken to the police station under investigation for sexual assault while he was 16 years old. And this is just really, again, if you want to say, my way to handle this is this, if I'm Kirby Smart or Josh Heupel, you tell me if this is right or wrong. What I would say is, look, they're going to be suspended from team activities indefinitely. But I'm going to give the legal system a certain amount of time to handle this. If they don't handle this within this amount of time, I'm letting them back on the team because You're innocent until proven guilty, and you have a right to a speedy trial. So I understand, like, and that's controversial. That's a little too player friendly to a lot of people. But I'm not one of those people. Like, I mean, AJ Johnson lost 4 years of his football career because this trial drug out, and that shouldn't have happened. I would say you got 6 months. I would say with Heupel, you got this many months to build a case against Jalen McCullough. If you don't build a case against him, you just indicted him. If you don't build a case against him, I'm playing him. Period. End of story. And I think that's how you do it. But I'm not sitting here reflexively saying everybody go defend Jalen McCullough, or everybody go defend AJ Johnson, or everybody go defend a Georgia player or anything like that. That's not how you go about this, because then again, you're tampering with the case. I mean, that's fireable to me.
You keep bringing up Josh Heupel. I don't think we'll ever see anything of this magnitude happen at Tennessee when Josh Heupel's here and Danny White. It just doesn't seem like their mantra to try to do this. I mean, you even look at Jalen McCullough. He missed, I can't remember, 1 or 2 games, right? They waited until the university, who is his ruling body when he's at college, cleared him to play again. And even in his situation, obviously we don't know the context, but I say it's very hard to compare the Jalen McCullough situation and this situation in the same sentence. So, I mean, Jalen McCullough was defending his apartment. Like, a person came inside his home. That's very different from and that's very different from what these athletes, from my understanding, are committing at Georgia. And I mean, the athletic department is liable in this too, because if Kirby Smart actually was talking to the attorney and sent the players to the trial, and the athletic department turns around and says Kirby Smart had no involvement, and this report comes out, I mean, the AJC is basically showing you that the athletic department is looking away from everything that's happening. I mean, it seems like once a week there's a player arrested for speeding, and you see a story about a Georgia player driving recklessly. That's program standards. It seems like if you have a program where they know the punishment, or like a Tennessee where the athletic department is well run now after years of turmoil, I don't think you'd ever see anything like this.
Yeah. It's I agree. It's a very I know this covering Georgia. You know, during the Mark Richt years, Georgia had the integrity model, and they had more integrity than any other program. And I think a lot of people at Georgia feel that cost them national titles. So I think when they hired Kirby Smart, they decided we're sick of integrity and let's just throw it to the window, which I get. Like, there is a healthy balance here. You don't have to be like Notre Dame, but you don't have to be Urban Meyer at Florida either. I mean, you can kind of strike a little bit of a balance.
Yeah, I agree. I think there has to be a balance somewhere. The Notre Dame, Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, they were super strict. I mean, even academically, there's some stuff they did that probably cost them on the field. But, I mean, you have to have some control over your program in some way. Like you said, even if it's setting a timeline, like, hey, if this guy isn't charged in X amount of time, or you don't have enough case against him in X amount of time, then we're just going to play him because he doesn't have all day to sit or all his life to sit around and wait on this case. But it just seems like there's nothing. They don't even talk about it. Like, I haven't seen Kirby Smart of the athletic department, besides to the AJC, release a statement about any of these cases.
I haven't either. Kirby Smart has not talked literally at all about the issues of discipline throughout the program, but we already talked about the lack of discipline. I mean, this is next level brazen. Usually it's a slow burn on a program that kind of culminates in a while. It's all one off season for Georgia. It's just happening out of the blue. So it's kind of crazy. Comment by Rocket Top Tom says the DA at Knoxville is either overzealous or we don't know something key to the McCullough thing with regards to Jalen McCullough. You don't indict as a DA unless you have a solid lock for conviction. Rocket Top Tom, I will tell you, the DA, I think you pronounce her first name Sharm P. Allen, is the same DA that indicted AJ Johnson, and there was an acquittal, and literally spent 4 years bringing a case, and there was an acquittal within 30 minutes. So I think we can safely say overzealous as the right word. That would be the right assumption based on that case if you're looking at this case, although, again, we don't know all the details. But, yeah, based on the AJ Johnson case, overzealous is probably the right word. So, Jaru, going to let you out here. I know you got some things you got to get to, but I'll just ask you real quick. Where does this end for Georgia?
I mean, I assume you have to open either I don't think we can trust the NCAA to investigate anybody anymore. So I feel like you have to, and it can't be Georgia investigating themselves because they're obviously not very good at this, it seems. So I think you have to get an outside body of some sort, like an agency, to investigate Georgia, and then come away and find out if it's the athletic department that's doing this or if it's rogue players. And then I don't know how long that takes. I don't know what'll be the end of it, but I don't see a way where they can just sweep this under the rug anymore, because the AJC has found some pretty damning information, and it doesn't seem like they're going to stop investigating anytime soon.